Hey everyone, we're going to interview some jockeys today. So we're going to interview Zac Purton. Welcome.
Thank you.
So Zac, tell us about your profession and where you're from.
Australia. Obviously, I'm a professional jockey,
Fantastic.
just like Adam. But Adam's here on holidays. He's from Sydney in Australia as well, which is where I'm from.
Okay, cool.
Unfortunately, he's hurt his hand, so he's up here to have a look at the scene we have here.
Okay, fantastic. So does Australia breed a lot of jockeys? It seems like we have a lot of Australian jockeys in town.
There's 24 million people, so you'd think a few of them every year would put their hand up as midgets and decide they want to be jockeys, and I was one of those.
Is jockey always been a dream of yours?
I always liked horses when I was younger, and I was always a natural sportsman. I was very good at cricket, tennis, soccer, all those things. And you know, I got to a stage when I was 14 where all the other kids were growing, and I was staying the same size, so I was getting pummeled in my sport, and then decided I'd be a jockey, and it's worked out well.
Yes, I think so too.
Okay, so needless to ask, what paved the way for you to become a jockey then?
Yeah, well, I was small and light and had an affinity with animals. You know, I've always, like I said, been in sport. I love adrenaline. That's another thing. So it all fitted in nicely, and luckily it's been a good success for me.
Okay, here's a bit of an unorthodox question. Would you consider yourself a horse whisperer? Like, would you have an affinity with the horses?
I think we all have some type of affinity with the horse. We all love the animal to some extent. Others probably more than others, but you know, I think you need to understand the animal and have a respect for them to be able to get the best out of them.
If you weren't a jockey, what would you be?
Yeah, maybe a model. I don't know.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah, that was an easy one.
Yes.
So how long have you been racing for?
I've been in Hong Kong for 8.5 years, but I had my first ride in a race in 2000, so I've been riding now for 15 years.
Wow. Okay. Well, you are a veteran then.
A veteran? Oh, geez, that's a harsh word to be using.
Is that too much pressure on you?
It doesn't sit too well with me at the moment.
Okay. What would you classify yourself as?
Champion jockey. That sounds good.
That's pretty good. Yeah. So, are you assigned a horse, or are you able to pick a horse?
It works in two ways. You know, there's many horses that get imported to Hong Kong every year. We have 1,200 horses here, and probably about 400 to 500 horses come in every year, and the same amount have to retire. So there's a lot of new horses always coming here. If I see a horse at the track that I like, I can ring up the trainer or the owner and say that, you know, I like the look of your horse, can I please ride your horse? Or if I see it run well in a barrier trial or a race, I can do the same thing. Alternatively, they can ring me and say, I have a horse, it's run well, I like my horse, would you be interested in riding it? So it works both ways.
And what about novice jockeys? Because they're new to the game, are they assigned a horse?
No one's ever assigned a horse.
Oh, okay, no one ever is. Okay.
When you're an apprentice coming through the ranks, the jockey club here in Hong Kong will assign you a master, and your master has got a stable, and then he may or may not put you on some of the runners in his stable. You can also take outside rides, but we're not allowed to own any horses, and we don't have any control of any horses.
Okay.
I have a question. What is the perks of being a jockey?
Oh, geez, I don't know if there are any perks.
There should be something. It's like, what's the best thing about being a jockey?
Oh, listen, obviously winning. We get a lot of, you know, satisfaction out of being able to win races, and you know, when you're winning, things are going well. The owners like to take you for lunch and dinner. I suppose that is one of the perks.
And the downside?
The downside is not being able to eat. You know, we always get very hungry. I'm incredibly thirsty, obviously, at the moment. You know, I'm riding tonight, so I'm quite dehydrated at the moment. I've lost 6 pounds from last night until today, so, you know, I'm very dry. My mouth is very dry. I'd love to be able to pick up a bottle of water and just eat it, but I can't drink it, but I can't until I finish riding. So
after you finish, you can do...
Yeah, then I rehydrate. I can have something to eat and make myself feel a little bit better. But the amount of pressure we put on our bodies is quite severe, and, you know, it's a constant battle, and it's the hardest thing about our job.
I see.
So with that downside of the lifestyle, how do you cope with it, especially in Hong Kong, obviously being so competitive, and obviously you've been suspended a couple of times this year, the difference in weather, the climate, how do you cope with it?
It's difficult. Obviously when I come back from the off season, I've had 6 or 8 weeks off. I've let my body go because I like to give my body a good rest instead of starving it and killing it all the time. I like to reward it in some way and sort of let it down a little bit. So I come back and I normally have about 13 or 14 pounds I have to get off. So by the time I work hard to get that off, I'm just getting my weight steady coming into winter, and then winter comes and it throws it all out of whack again because it's harder to sweat in the mornings and during the day. Say if I go for a run now, I won't lose any weight. It's purely just for the aerobic capacity of it, and to open up my lungs and, you know, to put the miles in my legs. But it doesn't help me lose any weight at all at the moment. But, you know, I've just come back from another suspension. My body's obviously taken advantage of that, so it's really hard at the moment to try and get it back down. It's just a work in progress. I know what foods I can eat, what I can't eat, how hard I need to train, what exercises I need to do, but once you put that little bit of body fat on, it takes a little bit longer to get it back off. Whereas when you're riding on a Wednesday and a Sunday, in between those meetings, you're basically just putting the fluid back into your body and then taking the fluid back out.
Wow, so weather and climate does play a big role in the weigh-in, so to speak.
Yeah, of course. Like I said, when it's hot here in summer, I can go for a run and lose 2 or 3 pounds easy. In winter time, I can't do that, so I need to find another avenue to be able to do that.
And what would that other avenue be?
Well, at the moment, it's purely just sweating in the bath, a hot bath. I don't like saunas too much. I find they cook me a lot, whereas if I'm in the bath, I can do it at home. I can watch a DVD, I'm in my own space, and my head is out of the hot water. So it feels a little bit better.
So you mean to say you can sweat while you're in a hot bath?
Yeah, sure.
So that's a good tip.
It is. It's only a short-term fix, but if you ever hop in a hot bath and get in there and then run the hot water as hot as you can stand it, so your body feels basically like you're a lobster cooking in there, and the sweat will start pouring off your face. Get out, wrap a couple of hot towels around you, you'll find that you'll lose a bit of weight.
Well,
it's quite effective.
What other, you must be an expert in losing weight, so I guess you can tell some of us who needs losing weight.
As soon as you have a drink of water,
it goes back.
You put it back
straight
on.
back on.
Yeah.
So it's,
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
So that's why, you know, I've sweated last night, and today I can't drink now until I finish riding tonight because I can't afford to put the weight back on.
I see.
Wait.
So that's hard.
So does it also matter what kind of water you drink? Can you drink mineral water, or do you have to drink distilled?
No, it doesn't matter, but if you pick up a bottle of water, you'll feel the weight in that bottle of water. So if you drink that water, all that weight goes into your body, and that's why you can't drink it. As healthy as water is, it's just about the weight, that's all.
Okay, understand. Right.
And how do you handle, obviously with the suspensions and different stuff, the mental aspect of it?
There's 2 ways you can look at it. I try not to worry too much about things. It's obviously disappointing. You want to be out there competing all the time. You never want to be suspended, but if you worry about it, then you just get yourself down. So you forget about it, you go and enjoy yourself, go for a few lunches, go for a few dinners, maybe go for a holiday when they let us go, and enjoy life. And then, you know, you have that break and you come back and you're keen to get back into it.
What is the maximum age of being, you know, like racing as a jockey?
There's no maximum age. It just depends on the individual. Obviously, the jockeys that don't have a weight problem, they don't put as much pressure on their bodies throughout their careers when they're riding, so they can probably ride for a little bit longer. But it also depends how many falls you've had and things like that. If you've got the aches and pains, the breaks, all those things, there's many contributing factors. But some jockeys may ride until their early 50s. Some jockeys might only ride until their early 40s, but I would say the average age would be about 45.
Okay.
So what does training involve to become a jockey? I mean, what is the process?
Firstly, you have to learn how to ride a horse, which is not easy. They're incredibly powerful animals. They're really strong, and, you know, because we're so small when we start off, we find it even harder to be able to control them. You have to learn the little techniques in being able to get a horse to relax for you. If you can't, when you first start off, there's a lot of times that the horse just takes off 100 miles an hour, and you might do many laps of the track before you can stop him. But as you get older, you get stronger and you get more experience, you learn how to stop them.
So do a couple of laps, you soon learn.
You do, that's right. And it's happened to everyone. You learn how to ride in a purely equestrian manner to start with, in a big saddle with your legs down, and then obviously you have to learn how to ride like a jockey, so you pull your irons up so they're much shorter in the position that we're in, so you're over the top of the horse, and then that's a whole new ball game. You have to learn a whole new technique. And then once you learn all that, you've got to learn the basic about how to ride in a race, so you start off in barrier trials before you're allowed to compete in races. It's a lengthy process, it takes a lot of time, and you know, it's just about experience really.